Now, let's start off with Sugar Ray Robinson, who is held as the greatest fighter of all time. I'm going to show you how to beat Ray Robinson, or how he would have been beat. Unlike how he was beaten in many of his other fights, the way to beat Ray Robinson is you have to move from side to side and you have to use the jab. What Ray Robinson did correctly was every time he would jab, he would thrust his power and turn on the jabs real hard, and he knew how to measure his distance of his punches. And most of his opposition stood right in front of him. So it was real easy for him to place his shots and just turn on them. Every hook he threw his entire body weight into him. And it was very powerful, coming from a man who didn't look like he was going to be as powerful as he was, thrusting his shots. One of his flaws was defensively. He kept his chin straight in the air. And the thing is, if you could cover up enough to block most of his hooks that he do, because he thrusts himself into the punch, and sometimes he would leave his feet to do so. It leaves his feet unbalanced. Both of his feet become parallel once he lands, and you are able to throw an uppercut and stay on the inside. You could do a lot of damage to Sugar Ray Robinson that way. LaMotta had a lot of success when he used the jab, whenever he used it, and was able to back him up and then block or take those hooks that Robinson would throw, and wait till Robinson lands off balance after he throws the hook, and come back with a combination punches from the body into the head, driving him backwards. Robinson was not a great boxer backing up when you coming forth with good aggression using a jab. He's very good if you're just coming in with the high guard, coming at him like a ram. He could just easily throw his combinations and step to the side. But if everyone who came forward fighting Ray Robinson with a jab going forward, he had problems setting up his shot because he was out of distance. And that is a key on how you would beat Ray Robinson. Now, let's go down the list and find somebody else. Jack Dempsey. Okay? Jack Dempsey, his thing is, he didn't care about defense either. Jack had to leave his feet most of the time because he was a real small heavyweight. He wasn't that big. Everybody thought he was so powerful, but most of his power came from him leaving his feet. This is a type of fighter you would catch with a check hook stepping back. To fight Jack Dempsey, it would be like fighting Manny Pacquiao. They both left their feet alive. They threw a lot of combinations. But the thing is that their chin is in the air and you can catch him flying in with hooks that he doesn't see. Bait him in with a pull right hand, pull his jab, and then step to the step. You got to keep stepping to your left, which is his right. Wait till he's off balance and catch him with a check left hook. And I think you would knock out Jack Dempsey if you were a certain type of fighter. He fought a lot of guys that liked to come forward and didn't realize Dempsey was pretty strong to be a little guy at that weight class, but he left his feet a lot and was off balance a lot, throwing a lot of combinations. So I feel that would be a good way to get him dropped, and it'd be a good strategy for him. Use the jab, bait him in, back up every time, pull jab, that's pretty simple. Another fighter that he reminds me of is Ricky Hatton. That would be a very difficult fight for a guy in Ricky Hatton's weight class at 140 to sustain that type of pressure that Ricky put. First of all, let me tell everybody, Ricky Hatton is strong. He's strong. To be a little guy, he's really strong. For his size, he works like crazy to get in shape. but his boxing IQ isn't one of the best. He has a brawler's IQ, and he fight a lot like Dempsey. They got to get close to do their damage. So they're willing to thrust their whole energy off their feet to leap, coming with a left hook, leap with a jab, anything they can to get to you quickly. So you can't escape, you can't set, you can't get away. What you do, same thing you would do with Ricky Hatton. Well, Floyd already exposed that to you when he used the jab, slow you down, and then once you become slower, you go to the body and start killing the head. It's just a matter of time. Who else did they have on this list? Well, most of these guys have already been defeated, so it's not really too much fun doing it this way. George Foreman. Well, to beat George Foreman, I wouldn't say rope-a-dope. I would say George Foreman of old. Get him tired, take him to the late rounds, and you can take him out. George, when he was older and more experienced, movement. You got to be able to jab, make him use those legs, let him burn out his legs when he was in his 40s. Keep him moving, pop, move, 2 shots, no more. Get out of there, go to his body, tear his body up, go to them livers. Don't stand around and try to stand in front of George Foreman, whose only chance to knock you out is to land a hammering shot. Why would you be there for that? Wear him down, wear him down, wear him down. This is a guy who's standing up in the corners. He wasn't even sitting in between rounds. Wear him out, wear those legs out, make him move, chase you around the ring. Okay. Roy Jones Jr. Woo! When he was RJ, oh my goodness. The only way you could beat Roy Jones is to stay home. The key to beating Roy Jones Jr., and that a lot of fighters become victims of, is they fall victim to his feints. You know, when you play the feint game with Roy Jones, you know, you're in his world. He wants to feint you to get you out of position so that he can land his offensive shots, and then he set his tone. And what you need to do is stay home. If you stay home and stay in your zone and stay with the jab and stay consistent and not worried about Roy Jones' reactions and feints, then you're in control and you could dictate the pace to Roy. And all of those fighters who did that normally had success against Roy Jones, and the fight was a little bit more competitive. Montel Griffith did it early on in the first fight against Roy. Tarver did it in the first fight with Roy. He wasn't reacting to any of Roy's feints. And when you do that, you have to make him respect you. You gotta throw something heavy, throw something hard, those stiff jabs. Keep Roy at a distance. Box Roy. That's a key. You have to box Roy. No matter how bad you want to engage, you box him and you keep giving him something to think about. Dictate the pace to him. Make Roy Jones become uncomfortable to where he's becoming reckless. That's how you will handle that. Vitaly Jirov. With Jirov, you gotta basically smother him. If you're a power puncher, this is your type of fight. He's gonna come in the wheelhouse, kill Jirov's body. About rounds 8, 9, and 10, he'll start to wear down. He's a rugged fighter, but he fatigues early, and you can get him out of there pretty early. I think round 8 or 9, he'll really become more open to shots, and he would fall. How did he make this list? Lennox Lewis. Tough task. Tough task. One of the toughest tasks of all. If you're not a big guy, big heavyweight, like say you're Tyson size, you have to go to Lennox's body. You have to throw looping shots up top And you have to not let Lennox Lewis tie you up and put his weight on you. You have to use movement. Make Lennox walk to you. Go to his body. Set the jab. Set the pace. Keep turning Lennox Lewis. Make Lennox reach for everything. Dictate the fight to Lennox Lewis. Keep him out of his rhythm. Lennox would want to use his jab, set up, measure you for his big right hand, big right uppercut, then grab you and put all of his 260-some pound on you and then wear you down as the fight goes on. You don't want that type of fight with Lennox Lewis, so conditioning is definitely a key when dealing with him. Mike Tyson. Okay, great. Should have known that was coming. Mike Tyson. Well, for Mike, wow. Mike, when he was Mike, Jesus. You have to have a granite chin because you're going to get hit. But for Mike Tyson, the safest place for you to be is on the inside. Standing on the outside with Mike Tyson is what will get you killed. If you get in close with Mike Tyson, you can go to work, tie Mike Tyson up, and you'll be surprised of how much success you would have with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson isn't a great inside fighter. A lot of people don't know that, and a lot of people will assume that he is, but he's not. He's not really a great inside fighter at all. If you don't believe me, go back and watch Mike Tyson tapes. He's not a good inside fighter. He was always a good fighter from the outside coming in where he's dictating the pace. If you tie Mike Tyson up, walk him back, he doesn't know how to break a clinch. He always had a problem with that. If you can go to the Bone Crusher Smith fight, he never learned how to do that. Smothering Mike Tyson is your best way of being victorious against Mike Tyson. Get him to the later rounds, smother his punches, he'll get frustrated, and that's your best opportunity of beating Mike Tyson. I'll keep them coming. I can do them. Manny Pacquiao. Just show up. No. Well, Manny Pacquiao is another leaper. Another guy who's really athletic. For a lot of fighters, a lot of flat-footed fighters like in his division, that's why he was able to be so successful, because he was so athletic that even before the controversy with bringing in the strength and conditioning coach, Manny Pacquiao gave fighters fits because he was very athletic, and mostly Mexican fighters. Most of those guys who were traditional boxers and came up with a traditional boxing background, they're not used to fighting a fight where they're going to be off balance and got to go backwards because the other guy's coming with aggression forward with punches and jumping from angle to angle with his foot speed. And his foot speed was confusing. He wasn't powerful. He was just more of attrition with him and wearing you down because you got to exert so much energy to try to match his pace. And most Mexican fighters couldn't do that. You know, they try to measure him with boxing skills like Eric Morales did and keep him at the end of a long jab. And then he'll make it tougher on him to slow him down some. And that's how you beat Manny Pacquiao. Keep him at distance. When he does the wild stuff, take a step back. Keep a jab in his face. Manny Pacquiao will slow down his activity, and then he'll end up standing in front of you. Then you tear his body apart with jabs, straight rights, then uppercuts will land, counter shots from angles he don't see, and he'll probably be knocked out really soon. Vladimir Klitschko. Okay, Vladimir Klitschko. It's a little bit of a difficult task because he keeps a stiff jab out at all times. You know, real stiff, hard jab, but he's really, you know, like conscious, wary about being knocked out. You know, once you've been knocked out before, you're gonna be very wary of, like, oh, I gotta watch it. You know, I gotta. You know, he's real cautious, especially if he's in there with a puncher. But the key to beating him is smothering. Getting him on the inside, mug him up, turn them around. And this depends on the fighter too. You got to be the right type of fighter. You got to be a type of fighter that got some pop and that can handle being in that type of situation where you could turn them, do what you want to do, and keep coming back with punches yourself. That's the best way, I would say, to beat Vladimir. You got to dog him. You got to basically take his will, punk him, because he's there to be punked. Trust me, he will fold. Jack Johnson. Oh, Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson. That's a tough one. Just from what I've seen of Jack Johnson, I would say your safest bet is to not be in the ring. But I would first see what Jack Johnson had. I would jab him and move around, give him movement, beat him to the punch. He seemed a little flat-footed to me, so I would make him reach for everything, especially him being a power puncher like that. Definitely stay on the outside and mostly stay to his right and keep the jab and keeping him turning him right all night. Let him chase me. Let him come forward. I want to see him work to get to me. Then I'll throw 3-4 combinations, tie him up, spin out. I wouldn't try to deal power for power with him. Not at all. Next on the list, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Sweet Pea Whitaker, the way I would fight him is every round I would have to do something different. I would start off the first round just kind of seeing what he got, letting him be the lead, take the lead. Just throw a little palm and jab out there. It's almost like a mind game with Pernell. You want to like change everything that he's thinking about doing or thinking about not being offensive. Let him be offensive for once and see what he got. Second round, just try to feel him out. Third round, attack him. Just put a lot of pressure on him attacking. Just keep him guessing. But a lot of pressure on Pernell Whitaker and making him go backwards puts him in a position where he's got to set up on the go. Now, he's real good for that, and he's real good for getting out of the angles. And if you cut the ring off on him, he's going to take a knee, and he's going to get real low, and he's going to sit down in the corner until the referee get in between you. Then he's going to get up and use the referee to, open his space. He's really good at that. As finding a way to get around the referee or use the referee to create the space he needs to get out of there. Now, he has a very stiff jab where he can have his body low and leave his hand up high and drop it real hard and duck. So I would like to throw a lot of sweeping uppercuts with my left hand if I'm in a conventional stance. Sweeping up with the uppercut to try to knock him out that way or try to catch him with a shot he don't see and then rain down with right hands. It's just that he's so small and at a weird angle that it's hard to catch him with something flush until the times he gets tired or he's sleeping in the ring and he's just standing in front of you. So always give him different looks. Go with a high guard for a little bit, change it up to invite him in a little bit. Changing the angles will give you a better chance to play a thinking game with Pernell. Maybe he'll stand in front of you a little bit longer than expected. Sugar Shane Mosley, jab and right hands. Sugar Shane Mosley has no defense for right hands, never has. If you got a very good jab and you know how to stay on the end of it and keep a fighter at the end of the jab, you're going to have a lot of success against Shane. Shane's very powerful, so a lot of guys weren't able to stick around long enough to even implement a game plan with his speed and power. It's hard to deal with, but definitely establish your jab, stay with it, and if you get a chance, tie him up, turn him, reset, and go right back to a hard, stiff jab. Make sure the jab is hard. It don't have to be fast, but make sure it's hard to get his attention. To make sure he backs up and bounces off his feet and knocks him off his rhythm. Because he's definitely a rhythm fighter.